It's been a while, JD, but I've missed you. I've missed having these times to get where we can talk football. We haven't had a stream in a while. I have to say it. We haven't had a stream in a while, and we've been busy lives here, but we're back. We can talk football again. The world isn't right, but at least we can have this fleeting moment of football where we speak about all the good things. Guys, welcome to another Thursday stream. It's myself. You have JD. He's back and he's focused from the iMax and the WeMax but no UMax because you can go somewhere else. We are here to talk about all things. We're going to talk CONCACAF Youth Qualifiers. We're going to talk about the Women's International Window, talk about what we've seen, and have a conversation about Jamie Carragher and his comments on AFCON and what it means not only for CAF, but also with the Gold Cup, because we're both in CONCACAF, even though I am the Africans and I cover African and Canadian content, because I want to be the Africans, I want to be both. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you give a like, comment, subscribe if you like this content. Leave your comments if you're watching this live or in the comments down below. Let us know what your thoughts are. And Mr. JD, I have spoken for a minute, which is tradition. How are you doing today?
I am great, you know. Thanks for having me. Yes, I do believe that yes, definitely. First that we start. I have not been here for a while because obviously the 2025 started a little bit off. Every minute I'm being dragged here. But we are back, and definitely we're trying to be as consistent as possible. And I am ready for these topics. I do believe that it's a rangy topic because we were invested in the U20s, and obviously on the tail end of the U20s, we got stuck in the ladies football, and we really saw some shapes taking places here and there, and we can clearly see who is going to be contenders in all regions, so we can have some beautiful conversation. And as what he said, Jamie Carragher made his statement, and it just, you know, it's a good discussion to have on that one, you know. Yeah,
No, agreed,
so I'm
agreed,
glad to
agreed.
be here because I think it's a good conversation that we can have, and we are going to have a lot of good conversations going forward.
Agreed, agreed. So we mentioned, guys, we have the topics. We're going to talk CONCACAF youth qualifiers. I said generally youth qualifiers because the men's U17s finished. The women's U17s are coming at the end of March and April. And then the U20s will be drawing for that a little bit later as well. But conversation wise, let's talk about what we know about youth qualifiers. So we have the women's under 20 just finished. I know, JD, you did a live on that going through, but let's talk about the teams that are there currently, which I think is a good place to start with our conversation. But we'll get to a broader conversation a little bit later. We have our finalists, which are United States and Mexico, who are the top two ranked teams, so they move on due to a bye. Then Guyana winning Group A, Puerto Rico winning Group B, Panama winning Group C, Nicaragua winning Group D, Canada winning Group E, and then Costa Rica winning Group F. We look at this, we have our 8-team final groupings, and what's going to happen here is they're going to go into two groups, and then the top two teams are going to go to the semifinals. But if you finish top two, you're going to the Women's U20 World Cup, which is great for you. I think it's happening in Poland next year. And then they will fight for first, second, third, and fourth as they go through. But out of these qualification areas, are there teams that surprise you? Are there teams that you feel did well in terms of their performance? What really took you here when you looked at this U20 competition?
What I've said, the first thing I had to start from would have to be the quality of football. I actually thought that the quality of football actually improved. I saw US Virgin Islands trying to play football. Obviously, it's not at the highest level, but they are doing the basics and getting through there, and they were one of the worst. But if you look at the so-called big six, then I don't think once I've looked at pot one and pot two, I clearly saw that okay, it's a big six. I am almost certain that two or three of these teams not going through to the next round because Panama looks good, DR looks good, Guyana looks good. So even down to pot three. So that's the first thing I saw was the difficulty of qualifying, which was good. Obviously, you still expected the top dogs to be the top dogs because you don't just overthrow
Yeah.
serious gap um, over 1 year. So Mexico, United States, and Canada won't be caught over 1 year, but you could clearly see that it's getting closer. And it's not the teams that you expected. So it's not the Jamaicas, the 80s. No, I think Damrep and Panama looks like they're rising faster to 80 and Jamaica that could have just gotten those spontaneous spots. You get me? So it makes it more exciting to watch. So as what you said, the team that surprised me the most, how good they were, because I expected El Salvador to be as good as Jamaica, if not better, because they
Okay.
do have the fundamentals a little bit different. So that's why I never really was so surprised in the final result for El Salvador. But
Mm.
Guyana surprised me. They surprised me big time because I thought that yes, it was a mixture of players, but it looks like they have soaked in. The best defender that I've seen in the entire tournament is Clark,
Hmm.
and she's a Guyanese player. Clearly, she's a Canadian. Um,
What?
but
What did we do?
she's a Canadian something else because clearly she's doing the same thing that we expect the Canadian team to be doing, and she doing it on Guyana's team because you saw she running down Ella Etienne. So
Hmm.
some of the stars, and she's switching on players and taking on 2 stars. She said, "Okay, I don't want 1 star. I need 2 stars. So Nazan, you are the new one. Let me take you on over here. Etienne, let me take you on over here. All right. Yes. Saint Villiers, you can just stay wide, but if you do try go 1-on-1, I will take you on as well." So when I saw that, I was impressed, and I was impressed with their team in general. So I have to give them big ups. You know, you had a lot of other teams that were very much good. Costa
Hmm.
Rica, we expected them to just come through with their qualities, and they did just that. Dominican Republic clearly just rising
Hmm.
extremely fast. As what I've said 3 years ago, Dominican Republic will be here in the next 4 years, and I can tell you that they're here in year 3 in all
Hmm.
competition. Yeah.
No, I think it's a fair point as we kind of look at some of the groups. A lot of these groups, outside of I think Canada's group, very much came down to the last day, right? Group D, you had their matchup. Nicaragua played Jamaica. That was a last day fixture. Canada, Trinidad was not a last day fixture. But Costa Rica, other than Costa Rica and Canada, the rest of the groups were very much games where everything came through. So as you said, I think the quality is getting better. I think this format, though I have thoughts on it, I think this format does help in terms of getting those minutes, getting that exposure, getting players. And I think if that's what you're going for, that works for you.
Mm-hmm.
I do find sometimes with CONCACAF, they've just never been able to find a format and just stick to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
think that gets a little bit frustrating. Like you understand what they're trying to do, for instance. So again, as we look at this format, we know that Canada and the US and Mexico got buys, and so they went straight to the final round of competition, which isn't a problem, but it becomes a problem when you now who do you give buys to? Now, I'm always a proponent of you want to reward the teams that are winning.
Well, it looks like they gave buys to anyone that actually qualifies for the finals of the
Hmm.
competition. So
Yeah.
second and first. So if it should swap places from Mexico and Canada, I think Mexico and Canada will be the next ones. Which,
Hmm.
to be honest, you're kind of seeing it. I never wanted a competition with Mexico because clearly it looks like only the top 6 or 8 best teams can go up against the next two. So for me, I would take the buys because I
Hmm.
don't want to see Mexico in one group, Canada in one group, and the United States in one group. It's going to be 50-50 goals in all of the groups then. And it's not the other teams. It's one team in
Hmm.
all groups.
It's a tough decision to make. I think for me, I would rather have the consistency of how the competitions are run. If this is how they're going to keep it, I would say then keep it like this for all competitions. So at least you can guarantee, because one of the things I heard one of the commentators say was, if you in the old format where it was four groups of four, the top three teams qualify, and then the lower ranked teams played in groups of threes, and the winners of that went into the round of 16 earlier. They said you would be
Mm-hmm.
playing over 100. You'd be playing effectively what, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games in that short condensed time. Now, we've had this conversation with those types of tournaments. My response would be, and maybe it's because I am a little bit, I'm fortunate to be in Canada where I'm supporting this team. It's, well, build your team that can last that many games. Not everyone has that depth, and I understand that. But it does make it a little bit more interesting because you'll have a group where Canada's in, and sometimes it's the luck of the draw of who has to have a Canada, a Costa Rica. If you think Canada can knock off either the US or Mexico, then next year it's going to be who's going to have a Canada or US or Mexico in their group, and they will just be, thanks for coming, guys, but
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
getting 14 today. I'm sorry, it's a tennis match today, like,
yeah,
and it
yeah.
sucks.
And I can't wait to see it because maybe you have one and few people that
Mhm.
can convert and be competitive. Because I think this guy in a team,
Mm.
I think they might have a next gear to go. Because some of the other girls, then when I went back to check them out, I realized that they are much better talents
Mm.
that maybe need more nurturing and more game time, and then they can be more expressive. So don't be surprised if they do find some challenges in yeah. But I'm not gonna jump. I'm not gonna jump. But I
Yeah.
think yeah, yeah. Let me keep it right there.
I
You
think
know.
that's like, and again, like to the point of it, I think, I mean, on Guyana, I think Guyana has always done a good job at recruiting and finding their players in their diaspora. I know Guyana always does a great job recruiting in, for example, the Toronto and the Ontario area in terms of finding talent. There's a lot of good Guyanese connections and coaches that they're based off people I've talked to. So they're always looking and they're always recruiting. And even
Yeah.
like looking at different clubs, it's like I watched one club. I forget who it was I was watching. It was like one interview. It's Nikayla Small, who was U20s a few years back. The next player, it's, oh, here's a Guyanese U20 player as well, same club. And it's like, how is it that they can do it? Because they're being intentional with it, and you love to see what that looks like. So I think as they go into that next round, interestingly enough, there are only 4 teams out of these 8 have ever gone to a World Cup at the U20 level, and it's
Yeah.
the 4 big dogs, for lack of better words, right? It's US, Mexico, Costa Rica, and Canada. So, I mean, these groups are going to look how they do, and it's going to be a conversation of, I think, if you're Guyana, Puerto Rico, Panama, or Nicaragua, can you avoid a group? Can you hope that, because Canada and it's going to be with either Mexico or the US? And there's a degree where I'm going to say, if you're in that group, Godspeed to you. Maybe they hope that they're in the group that has the other one. So maybe the group that has the US and Costa Rica, and you try to take your chances being Costa Rica. But I mean, Sheikah Scott is still a thing. she's in, I think, her last year with the U20s. So she's going to be good for Costa Rica. So I'm looking forward to see what it looks like in that next round. I did mention format and consistency. And yes, I know people in the chat will get to you guys in a second. But the one thing I do find frustrating with CONCACAF with their youth qualifiers, it's a different qualifying format for everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
The U20s are going to play a tournament in one space, and the top 2 are going to go on. I think possibly the U17s are going to be
Was
different,
yes. Go ahead. Yeah.
right? The U17s, it's going to be
The
four.
U17 was straight World Cups for ladies because they
Mhm.
had so much spots. Remember, they're changing up the youth World Cup size, so
Yes,
that's why. So for every first placed went straight to the World Cup, and that's why Jamaica had no, for boys, I should say, for
yeah,
boys.
for boys,
Yes.
yes.
So that's why Jamaica had that
Mhm.
big problem. Yeah, but
No,
I
but
don't.
for the girls, what they're doing is they're going to have 3 groups on 3
Mhm.
different locations. The
Yes.
group winners go to the World Cup, and then the best third place spot goes to it. The best second place, sorry, moves on as well. So it's another situation of win your group and you're in, which isn't a bad thing per se. But it's like, okay, U17s win your group and you're in. U17s win your group, you're in. U20s get into a group, and then kind of I
Also, you
wish
wanted them to stay by one program, pretty much.
yes. Because I
Okay.
think one program works a little bit better. And yes, if that means you have to bring a deeper side,
But
yes, it's strained, but I don't know. What do you think?
I can agree with you to say that it should work when if you had the same aligned like end result. So for
Mm,
instance, for youth 17s, they are opening up for every single year World Cup. You understand me? But it
yeah.
might not be the same for U20s, or the amount might not be the same for U20s. So it makes it
Mhm,
a little bit more difficult for you to have the same actual organization.
mhm,
If you tell me that's okay, because remember it's 4 spots. The problem is the amount of spots that you're going to have in the end. If you had 8 spots, 8 spots is better than 4 spots.
yeah.
So 8 spots, you could easily say, okay, I'm not going to do any championship round. I'm going to just do groups. So the best team out of each group, I'm going to go with that. I can do it at boys and girls, youth 17s, but I can't bring it over to youth 20s. So I could see where they are the difficulties,
Mhm,
because if it's 4 teams, you can't get the groups, because now you're gonna push away legitimate teams that could be developing over years. You understand me? Like a Suriname, a so that got good
mhm,
squads, they wouldn't have an opportunity, because you'd have canceled 3 groups and said you're going to only use 3 groups. No, no, that can't be right. You got to
mhm.
just do it the way you did it that time for the eight, and it was entertaining. It
No,
was
it
entertaining.
was.
Jamaica had a true chance to go through,
Mhm,
which they didn't, but they still had a true chance even in the game, and we
mhm,
were entertained. So it's better than 4 teams going through, and then you Jamaica in a group with United States, and only people in Jamaica believe that they're going to qualify, because I know what will happen. You
mhm,
know what will happen, and everybody in the world know what will happen. And when they touch a field, that will happen. But Jamaica was fear to go up against Nicaragua and El Salvador, and they believe that they could have gone through. You understand
mhm.
me?
Yeah.
Because the quality is not so far apart. Yes, so I think it was okay still, but I got your message though.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, I think this format works, but I mean, can we commit to a format just like if this is what we're gonna do, let's keep it this way so teams can address. I think I found the U17s on the men's side interesting just because I wondered how teams wanted to approach this, right? Because for Canada, it was pretty much a 17 team, right? Everyone
Mm-hmm.
on the side is going to be 17 this year, and that's it. They're gonna. It feels as if Canada's going to go with. We're going to take the best players. If that means it's the oldest players, they're going to go. And it's going to be a new team. And I wondered if maybe a team would say, "Hey, can we find like a 15-year-old who's maybe good, keep him into the system, get him adjusted to this, so by the time he's 17, maybe that's when he hits his stride." Key players like that. Like you see this with like the youth on the women's side, right? On for Canada, for example, Olivia Smith was with the U20s at 17. So she had 2 cycles with the U20s, and she was able to go to 2 U20 World Cups and played well. Like I wondered if teams were going to do that with the men's side, and some of them did. If you look at some of the rosters, you had a few 15-year-olds, a few, I think one 14-year-old, but everyone else was pretty much 15, but 16 to 17. I wonder if you know what's coming every year. If you are in charge of, say, a federation, how would you want to approach it? Would you want to get the best players that you could every year and try to go in a condensed period? Or would you
Um,
opt for keeping a team together for maybe 2 years and then seeing what they can do in year two almost?
in life, you have to know what your target is.
Hmm.
So, for instance, United States, they will have the academies set up to pick from, so
Hmm.
they can just always just pick their bunches from the year.
Mm.
For Jamaica, Jamaica doesn't have any academies. You understand me? Or
Hmm.
they have academies, but it's not the elite, not of anything to the standard of what you really wanted to go.
Yep.
So Jamaica has to take whatever they can get, so they can build a pool, not just for that said youth 17s, but also for the national team. So you have to
Hmm.
be trying to get as much players that can play football pretty much. So I think it comes down to what your task is. United States can pick a U15 team. They
Yep.
can afford to do that. and let them run for 2 cycles. You understand me? But Jamaica can't do that. 80 can maybe half and half. They can't just go full young
Hmm.
players because they don't have the facilities or they can't use their facility at the present moment. So I
Hmm.
think it comes down. So Canada can do it. Canada has the luxury to do it. And I think
Yeah.
it's better for Canada to do it as well. Because the question that I need to throw to you is sometimes the overload come in. So is it a best way to deal with it, like to put double years in the youth programs so you can use the girls them twice, so you don't have to force them to come in the senior teams?
Hmm.
If you're talking about Canada and United States, how you deal with that?
I think it's interesting how Canada wants to deal with it, because I feel as if when you have, and on any side, and especially in CONCACAF for Canada and the US, I think the men are still gonna go with. I'll use the men as an example here. I think the men are still gonna go with the U20 is gonna also qualify you for the Olympics, which to me is a
Mm-hmm.
missed opportunity to. I think yes, it saves and it condenses, but I think it's a great opportunity. A U23 program, not a lot of teams have it. I get that it's money, but at least you can get those early professionals in and get them going. So I think if you have that setup where you have a U17, you have a U20, I don't think it'll hurt you to move a player up if you think they're deserving of it. If you have a
Yeah.
U17 who's overperforming their U17 level, I don't think it'll hurt to put them up to, say, the U20s and say, okay, go play there. If you don't have either, I think you try to maximize what you have. And then at that point, it's a true meritocracy. If you have earned it, go up there and go. Don't worry about one way or the other. Just put your best players on the squad. Give them enough. There's, if you can get your best players on the same squad, get them enough, training opportunities, and that's a federation conversation. Right? Get them friendlies, get them opportunities to gel. Then you come and see, because ultimately, the one problem with some of these tournaments, like I used to say this with Canada, sometimes it's frustrating when it's like, oh, we're having a youth camp. Oh, there must be a youth tournament in 3 months, in 3 or 4 months. It's like nothing stops you from having camps. I always make the Mexico point. The year that Mexico lost and didn't make the World Cup or the Olympics, the next window, they were like, okay, U20 camp, we're going for it again. I'm like, nothing stops any of these countries from doing this. The problem is the incentive of the tournament is usually what propels them and pushes them forward. So I would love to see them, even if you don't make it, have a U23 team, have that there, because at least it gives you, if you're trying to recruit dual nationals, it gives you an opportunity to get them into camps which aren't high pressure camps that come in and commit immediately, gets them familiar with the program. But it also keeps groups together, keeps you playing, and keeps them at least still, even if you're domestic players, keeps them Canada bound or national team bound, so that you don't have to worry about. And if they go, they go, but at least give them a chance to stay together and play. So I'm always about, even if you don't have it, create a U21, go around, create a U23. There are teams, even if it means you have to go somewhere else. Yes, travel is expensive, but go to Europe. There are plenty of U21, U23 teams that would love to have a friendly. Same thing as in Africa. You can create opportunities for your players if you really invest and are intentional about it. But we'll wait to see if teams are. So that's kind of how I would answer it and how I would want them to
Okay.
kind of move forward with it.
Okay, well, it's a tough
Mhm.
way going forward. But once you are a general director, you should know the direction you're going in. You
Mhm.
should know the actual position your country is in, and you do it accordingly.
Mhm.
That's what my answer would have been, because I
Agreed.
clearly
Agreed.
saw that Jamaica can't have the same plan as Canada. They can't have the same plan as the United States because their overall system is so different. So
Mhm.
you have to do it accordingly. That's what I would say. But yeah, I have a lot of comments in the chat, Africans. Are you going to
Yeah.
run through them so we
I
can
am
go
going
to the
to
next
run
topic?
to them here. Yes. So we have Kevin J saying big up to yourself. Good to see you as well, sir. We have Sean Base, blessings, the big bald Billy.
Suriname in the building,
Suriname is in the
Yeah.
building. We're there. We're there. We had some comments here saying that Guyana is investing in the program and they're scouting 10 for 10 for sure. No problem. And then Guyana also playing friendly games. That's why they're improving. I think getting friendlies for your youth teams, even if you're just playing a club side, get your teams together to play so at least they have some familiarity with themselves. I think that'll go a long way for them. Steph and Jordan. Good to see you, Steph. Always good. Best players, if they want to present, agreed. And I think this is towards the U23 conversation. Canada is not there yet. The CPL helps, though. I do agree. Giving them the opportunities and giving them more professional minutes. I think you're going to continue to see that as they go forward. So I like that point.
But that was for the guys, not for the
Mhm.
girls, right? That
For
was
the
for the guys.
Yeah, for the girls, I think you, as a whole, continue to build women's programs, getting them academies, getting them environments where they can act. Professional environments helps. I think in Canada, we're starting our league this year. So we're going to hopefully see some positive and some encouraging moments from
It
that.
will it will be Canada
Mhm,
is so the amount of talent you guys are
mhm.
producing. I don't see any problem why it would fail, because you can that's the place that maybe this is what will kickstart Canada's actual dominance in ladies football, based
Mhm.
off them can get in these young players in the league and players coming to play there, and don't be surprised, a lot of quality players might turn up there um instead of the USL.
Agreed. And I think you give them options. That's one thing I've always said when it comes to teams. Give players options where they can play and give them different pathways. And I think NSL does that. USL even does that as well. I think from a Canadian perspective, it's a bit of a competition. So, but we'll see what they're able to do. But yeah, NSL is one thing. So it's not just collegiate sport. It's not just that way. And I think that's what will open the door for them kind of moving forward. Well, so guys, we'll transition a little bit away from CONCACAF Youth Qualifiers. We've set our pieces on that there. It was the women's international window here. I know Jamaica got 2 wins in their games. I
Yeah.
watched a bit of the Haiti Morocco friendly.
I've watched all the 80 game, and
Mhm.
sadly, I've not watched the Jamaica games. Them,
Well,
so I
see,
won't have much to say on it.
won't have much to say, but I think based off of what I was looking and gleaning around, Busby was trying to experiment with different players, but also try
Mhm.
to go for wins. He got 2 wins, which was great. Which hey, we'll talk about that a bit more. But you watched the Haiti games.
Yes, I've
I
watched the full 80
Yeah.
game.
Okay,
Um,
so I personally like the matchup Haiti had with Morocco because I think they are actually much more stylistically and talent wise. They're a lot more similar in that same bracket because I think
okay.
when it comes to like women's football, you have like the top 4 or 5 teams are in a bracket. There's a middle class where anyone can beat anyone in that class, like the Canada, Brazil's, some of the other more European, and then that middle class of teams that are starting to try to push and emerge to push into the second category. I think Haiti is pushing to be there. I think Morocco is pushing to be there. What did you see that you liked with Haiti v Morocco, and what are some of your takeaways from that game?
It's a good way to put it, to say that Haiti and Morocco should be classed in the same breath, but I think Haiti should be respected, and Haiti is a higher quality team than Morocco.
Mhm.
I honestly believe that. And I think my Asian people, don't let Africans get away with that. You understand me? Yes,
Yeah.
Haiti should be classed as a higher quality team based on what they were doing
Mhm.
right off the World Cup, and they have added pieces. Pierre Louis looks good, a
Mhm.
good addition to the team, so she can make Jedi play a more central, a more eight role. So I like what I'm seeing right there. Dumane is just Dumane. I heard you tried to compare other players with Dumane, but that when I'm looking
Yeah.
at the plays, let me leave it alone. She's just an ex-football player that nobody should be compared with. So,
Duvernay
but
has the resume and she has the longevity and the resume at that level. So it to be perfectly honest, you need longevity to be able to make that comparison. I think
what?
when I made my comparison, I think that's where I was excited for the player. But I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you because
Yeah.
Duvernay has a longer
Well,
resume. So
I
good.
people, his player is gonna she's gonna be very good. But I'm
Mhm.
telling you, Africans really don't play in the legend,
But
the
to your
20
point,
year old legend.
Morocco is ranked 61st in the FIFA rankings.
Yes.
Haiti is ranked 54th. So they're
Yeah,
about the
yeah,
same space, but yeah.
yeah. But remember, I was explaining, when you watch Morocco plays, Morocco is solely based on technicalities, and
Mhm.
and that's what I like about them. They do work their way into games, and they can suffocate you. But they couldn't stop Haiti. Like, they couldn't just suffocate them, because the speed of Bachiba and Dumerne was almost unstoppable. So every single time Mandesar gets through the middle, and they always had that outlet. So it makes it for a very much high-paced game. And I definitely gave Morocco respect when I saw how they played through 80 a few times. But I was kind of more impressed with 80, because I was expecting to see where 80 shuts them down. Because 80 always had that problem in midfield to close down and then build up and stuff. So I was really looking for that. I expected what I expected from Morocco, and they did deliver. Chebak, that free kick was a super free kick, and she's a
Yes.
very, very good player. All right, because I came in the game to watch and she was instrumental towards linking the play. But I just believe that I was slightly impressed with what I saw Eddie doing, because I wanted those improvements to say that this is what will take you from just a back to front team and more of you can deconstruct teams, like teams that are tactical. You can win it in midfield and develop something and attack. It was too direct. And I think that I've improved what I saw. I don't know if these are the pieces to take them over the top, but what I saw, I'm impressed with what I'm seeing.
No, that's fair. I think that the one thing Kevin J says, I think Mondesir has improved a lot since she moved to the NWSL. But I think NWSL is going to be that league where you either learn how to be very patient or you learn how to be very quick in your decision making, because they are a very high athletic league, a lot of direct play in that sense. But
so what about Bachiba? Because I think it's the Bachiba that improves so vastly, unlock things.
I think they're all off. I have never worried about Haiti offensively. Like, I never worry about them offensively, because Haiti is going to be that side where I make this comparison stylistically with them, and I think it's a fair. Haiti and Zambia to me are just the same country, but they're the same team, but in different continents, right?
Yes. No, I think we can't use the comparison, because they have so much more defenders now and so much more forwards. No, midfielders. Maybe it's changing, but that is exactly what I was trying to discuss earlier, and to say that the transition that I'm seeing from them, it's more effective, like more ways to get something on the field, and that's what I like. But good game to watch, people. Good game to watch.
No, I
I
agree.
will definitely watch a Jamaica game, both of them. I will rewatch them and break them down and everything in my spare time. But I never had any chance to watch it, because it was on my TV and I was upstairs, and I was not going to pay for it on YouTube for my own reasons. I will not talk. All right.
I'm not gonna get dragged into this. I will
Yes,
not
I'm
get
not. Yeah, and I
dragged.
don't want you to get dragged in
I
that.
will
I'm
not
not
get
going to
dragged
say
into
anything.
this.
Yes. Yeah.
So we talked a little bit of Haiti. So I think Haiti is looking good. I mean, this year for um really, Steph, you're gonna say that? Steph says Jamaica is like Nigeria except without the midfield. Um so I will see. We'll see if that is a true statement. Why are you trying to get me in trouble, Steph? Leave me be. Stop trying to get me in trouble. Okay. Okay. Kevin J says two of the defenders are back. Constance and Limage are back. Okay, that's good. That's good. And I think that would be a fun game to watch, to be perfectly. Um, if Zambia could get, I know Zambia, they're gonna start. They have WAFCON coming up, and then
Yeah,
they're
but
gonna.
Italy would have beaten Zambia. It would have ended 7-5. Italy cannot. They have midfielders and they can defend, so it would have ended 7-5.
I don't know,
5
but
to Zambia and 7 to Italy.
Barbara
Dumani
and
has 6
Rachel have
goals.
scored over better defensive. It'll be 8-6. 7-5 will
I
be 8-6.
believe it will become the level of the strong ladies.
People will be like, defenders for who, for what? Just go.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I would love to see that matchup. It's
Oh,
some
that'd be a nice
we
one.
need to see more of those teams that you have some players on the field. You know that they're so better than everybody else. It's like, yo, just let them play.
Sean is trying to get me into trouble, but we talked about that. Well, you'll do Jamaica later. Canada played in the Pinatar Cup, and I mean, I saw a comment which I said in one of my recap videos, which kind of bothered me, because we played China, we played Mexico, and then we played Taiwan, Chinese Taipei, it's Taiwan. And so the thing that someone said was like, well, they got the win against inferior competition, Mexico thing. I'm like, Mexico's Mexico's a lot closer to Canada than some Canadians want to give credit. Well, people who don't watch the national teams, I'd say, understand the level that Mexico's at. And yes, Mexico game got marred with a lot of fouls. The red card happened, but Mexico is the side that, like, and this is almost a conversation with Canada to see where they go as well. Canada is like at the Canada is at the middle point between the we are a top 5 country in a world that if
Mm-hmm.
we play anyone under them, we're giving you 2, 3, and it's going to be comfortable. And the group, that second group of they're all kind of mixed in that same pot. Now the
Okay.
problem with that is like we'll see what Casey Stoney ball looks like, but I think based off those 3 games for me, Canada, Maria Lidu, who scores a hat trick against Chinese Taipei, good showing. Olivia Smith, great showing as well. I think this team, the Trillium, leave. Listen. I believe in Byway and Shoppers Drug Marts. Leave Walmart out of this step. Leave Walmart out of this. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how Casey Stoney looks at this team, especially when all the defenders are healthy. And I've said, I think that's the most fascinating thing this year because there aren't any. So we might end up seeing a Canada. I think Canada's going to need to find a few more interesting friendlies. The Women Euros are this year, so maybe no European teams, more Asian teams, more African sides. But I don't think it would hurt Canada to have another friendly in Mexico v Mexico. I think they'll probably have a USA game. Though I think a Jamaica friendly would be interesting for them just to see kind of some young players and see what Casey Stoney ball looks like for them. But
Okay.
for me, I think
So
Canada. Yeah, talk to me.
just to see some young players, you want to play Jamaica because okay, from Spain got a good result against Spain, but you clearly saw that it needed to work on things. So you want to downgrade to play somebody else to test out the pieces that you want to go back to
see,
Spain. Is
see,
that the intention?
I mean,
Because that's the only thing I can honestly see,
I
because
think
Jamaica is not going to pressure you. Jamaica have never been a team that presses you. You have to worry about passes. You have to just drop your defense back and build from a deeper position after them running into you.
but there's a reality that they've struggled against the low block. And
Okay,
I
yeah.
think, and so if you're gonna play, look, if you're a team that's highly ranked, and like Canada will have some pedigree, people will be like, okay, we're gonna sit back, we're gonna defend, we're gonna counter, and hopefully we can steal the game that way. And so if Canada has to be able to show that they can break a low block and do it successfully. Now against China, they did it early. They got the early goal, but then they weren't able to put the game away. Then the second half, they made a lot of changes, and then China ties the game. Against Mexico, the red card changes the game because there's a degree where Mexico was making Canada work and uncomfortable, and some of the habits, I would say, like you're turning away from pressure and looking to where to go. And as you turn away, there's 3 Mexican players on the player, and they're saying, "Where are we going to pass the ball?" And the Mexican
Thank
player,
you.
Alex
But
Soto, is like, "I'll take that, thank you," and then we'll start our counter. So they need to know how to. They need to be better, and I think that comes with more exposure,
yeah,
more.
what I'm pretty much saying is you have to mimic teams that you're playing. Playing Jamaica and beating Jamaica. Canada beat Jamaica every single time. There have never been a time when it looked like Jamaica can win the game. So I'm just saying I don't think Jamaica has actually developed into a team that Canada should be worried about. You said that they're at the second tier to go into the first tier. I think the team that they can play to mimic the Spain would have to be Mexico, and they just did that. In
Agreed.
our region, it would have to
Mhm.
be Mexico, and they just did that. I don't see much teams in the top half that plays like Jamaica, even against them. The only team maybe plays like Jamaica, surprisingly, against the big teams, would have been Japan.
Hmm.
But Japan is way more technical. So when
Mm.
they do the long passes, it doesn't seem like they're playing like Jamaica, but they play like Jamaica, just go long. They are just way more talented, technical players. So it just seems like they control the ball, just have one and link up the play. It just seems like they are doing a little bit more. But yeah, Japan plays like Jamaica when they're playing. Even England last night. Definitely England did pass the ball. I'm not going to disrespect them,
Yeah.
but a lot of the players them it's just long ball because they realize that Spain ain't giving them a chance to play that football, and they're in their faces. So it's just pure long ball they're going for, you know?
It's not many teams that play that suffocating style of pressure, but then also being comfortable in tight spaces, right? And that's how you see Mexico developing, and Spain is just that to a tenfold degree. And so I think they need to be better at that. But you can't play Mexico and Spain all year. I would love it, but you can't do that. So if it means you play a few other teams in the region, I think they need to play the US at some point just to see what their
Yes.
level is.
Yes, stop hiding from the US and want to come and beat up on Jamaica, just to get some wins, you know?
I like wins, JD.
No,
I
no,
like
no,
wins.
no. No, you need improvements to go further. And playing Jamaica ain't going anywhere. You understand me? Jamaica need to play somebody. Jamaica need to play Haiti or Mexico. You understand me? To improve
Yeah.
themselves. Yeah, you want to play Jamaica because you want to win, that they can go and brag. Oh, we win 15 games in a row. No, no, no. Go and play United States again and see if we can win.
Fine, I'll play Iceland. Fine, are you happy? We'll play JD. I don't
No,
want to
no,
play.
no.
I
I
don't
would
want them to
take
play
a
Brazil
no.
or
If you
Nigeria
want,
again. Okay,
no, if you want to play Jamaica, go and play Denmark.
I'm not
Denmark
opposed.
plays similar to the Jamaica, but they are just better than Jamaica. You understand me? So go and play them. And I am almost certain you are not going to win the game, you know. You're not just gonna walk over them. No, no, people, me and you
I,
know, if let me type you. Where is Denmark in the rankings? Obviously,
you
European
know, I
rankings,
have it.
uh,
Let's go. Let's go.
FIFA
And
rankings,
okay,
but they ain't easy to play, man.
Denmark
Remember,
is 12. Okay, we're
remember
here.
Denmark killed off Japan, you know, Japan that was murdering everybody, you know. Was it Sweden or Denmark?
No, it was
No, man, it
Sweden.
was
That was
Denmark.
Sweden. It was Sweden.
Sweden. Yes, Sweden. It was Sweden I'm talking. Sweden. Yes. Go Canada need to go and play Sweden. Stop trying to look to play Jamaica. You
I,
understand me?
I'm looking at, but I'm also thinking it from this perspective of who's going to be available because the Euros for the women are coming up this year. So it's like, okay, we can't play necessarily. Maybe we can get a tune-up game with some of them, and that's fine. But I mean, Spain's going to be at the Euros. England, Germany will be there. Sweden,
Sweden will be there. So
yeah.
they're there, man. They're
France
big
is a
dogs, you
team
know.
that, like, France is a team that is. I feel that I'm waiting for them to put together a solid 90 minutes, but I don't. France is a
You
good
can say
team, but
one
I
play
don't.
Iceland. Iceland seems to be very good too.
So I'm
So
not trying to. I said Iceland
so
because
I
I know
thought
they're highly
you're
ranked.
trying to look for Ireland. I thought you said Ireland because Ireland might drop out of the top 30 now because they were at 26 in the World Cup. They should be
Yeah, that's
down.
true.
Oh, they're still there. Oh, you passed them. You passed them. They're 24. So is it Ireland? So where
Yeah,
were they? They were like 26 in the World Cup, so they jumped and then dropped back again. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, they are getting wins. They are getting wins. Okay.
They're getting wins and the solid wins, right? Because other than that, if it's comable, it's either Brazil or Colombia. Colombia could be interesting if you're looking for.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
I think Canada batters Colombia. I saw Colombia. Once you can isolate Myra and Caicedo, I think you are Osme. Once you can because sometimes they kind of fluctuate between Osme, Myra, and Caicedo. They don't like to start all three of them.
mhm.
But yeah, so once you can isolate them, I think that you drop them too deep and the pressure. I think your midfield is too good. You will win that game comfortable.
I think, and this is to a point. I think this year for me, my biggest evaluation for the women's team is the midfield. What does it look like? Because I think Fleming is probably going to play. Awujo, when she's back healthy, is going to probably start. Emma Regan, who started 2 games, has looked good for Canada. And so she's another CDM. I think you may not need to see Quinn any more with the national team, not because they haven't played well, but I think they're finding players who can play in that CDM role. Then
Yeah.
between Fleming, and I think I'm curious to see what she does when the roster is healthy. Because if the roster is healthy, you have Jade Rose, you have Buchanan, then you have Vanessa Gilles, and you play basically as a back three. Who is the midfield pairing, but then who are your forward pairings with your nine? I think between either Vienne or Hainoa probably starts as the nine. And then if Stoney said that Alidou is a 10, and to me, I think a lot of this roster will depend on where they put Olivia Smith. Because if they think Olivia Smith is more of a winger, I think it opens the midfield for players. If they think she's more of a 10, or like that modern 10 that's like second striker, I think it opens up
Mhm.
for wingers, but then I think it makes your midfield a lot more crowded. So I think where Olivia Smith plays will be interesting, but I'm curious to see when she has all her center backs healthy, what does the starting 11 look like? For me, I think that's what I'll look at for that. When you look at the games, JD, tell me for when you rewatch those Reggae Girls games, tell me
Yeah.
how the midfield looks, because
I,
you know
I
that's
I
what I
will
always
I
ask.
will tell you, I will tell you because a lot of people call me asking me what's up, yeah, I will tell you, I will tell you, believe me. Yes, I will tell you.
Indeed, indeed. Billy's dog is in the house here, so hello to you, sir. I don't even know where I want to start with your comments, but yes, it is
And
country versus
guys, let
team.
me make sure it's a limitation on the videos them coming forward. We're not gonna do 2 hours. We're doing
Yeah.
shorter version videos, so please turn up early once you see the links. All right, or watch it and drop a comment. It's very important. Like the video and subscribe so you're already over here, and let me get it going because I think these are beautiful topics. All right,
Mhm.
yeah.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. All right, Chorus is here as well. Up to you as well, Chorus. Steph says Colombia is at least a different look. I agree.
Yes, that
Float
is true.
management in the building. Agreed. Good to see
Float
you as
management,
well.
yeah.
Always good to see you. So, and yes, I know you're here, Paul. I know you're here. I
Big
haven't,
up,
I
big
haven't,
up, Paul, big up, big up.
I
Yeah,
haven't forgot you.
Paul really passed through the 80 games and stuff. Yes, I have to big up
Yeah,
Paul.
that is true. That is true. Well, you gotta love football for that. So we've talked some of the uh friendlies for the women, guys. Put us in the comments as well who you think look good on whatever team you're watching, what excites you going into those next windows. Last thing for today, AFCON is a major tournament. So unless you've been living under a rock, I you've done well. You've avoided a lot of things. I appreciate you. Um, and no, I'm not. I'm. I. Where's this Dwayne Wade comparison coming to? I don't see it. I don't see it. Okay. I don't see it at all. But Jamie Carragher makes a comment on a panel saying basically that AFCON isn't a major tournament. It's referring to Mo Salah, whose chances, which by the way, I'll just say it. If Mo Salah doesn't win Ballon d'Or, I have questions because right now he is in the lead.
Mbappe.
So what's in it, Mbappe? I think. I mean,
No,
what
I'm
does
just
he have to
having
do?
Mbappe. What Mbappe doing? Because
True.
Salah is doing ridiculous things. So let me see what Mbappe doing. Um, Mbappe should be in it.
Hmm.
Salah should definitely be leading it.
I will agree there. Yeah.
Dembele rose to the occasion as well. Pulisic did well as well, but he had injuries, so he should not. Lookman had injuries as well.
Yeah.
Decatelec did well as you have a lot of players, but Salah should be leading though.
Salah should be in the lead. He's in pole position. If he doesn't win, it's either an injury or someone has decided to blow out the rest of this year and the summer and done ridiculous things. But Jamie Carragher is talking about that and says, it's major tournament bump isn't there. And he brings it up on AFCON. And I mean, I don't want to be the next video essay on how Jamie Carragher said something very, in my opinion, very wrong. There are aspects of what he says in terms of how we look at it and how we as the media look at it can affect how we look at it, which is true. But no, it's a continental tournament. It's a major tournament. And for me, there's so much that I can go into this, but if you'll allow me to take the floor here, Carragher is sh- Carragher in a sense. I'm gonna try to say it nicely. He's not wrong in terms of how people look at it. He just kind of went around, and I'll steal this from because I was watching I was watching, I think Deadball said it, and Deadball said it how I felt, which is some of his points are true. He just went around saying it in the dumbest way possible. I think, yes, there is a reality with football that it's very Eurocentric, right? So we look at the Euros, are the World Cup is the pinnacle. After that, it's the Euros. That's it, right? And it's treated that way, right? Even if we look at AFCON, we look at it as like, okay, it's a thing. And I think the problem with AFCON is the one tournament of all the federations that is viewed as the inconvenience, right? AFCON usually takes place in end of January, February, and for a lot of for a lot of the European clubs, like, oh, we're losing players for a month now because of this tournament that's happening that inconveniences us, right? Most of the other tournaments happen in either the summer or at other times. This year, AFCON is going to happen in December, and so it won't affect too much. It'll take place primarily maybe a week or so after the international break and December break, but it'll happen there. But I think AFCON has always been a tournament that's been looked at the inconvenience, and because of that, we have done that. Now, also, as Africans, we there's a bit of an obsession of like we are always a mess, and we do this to ourselves, right? Like Ghana doesn't make the AFCON. And yes, this part of me is annoyed that I had to see a billion video essays on Ghana's failure. But it's like, okay, Ghana doesn't make it. Whereas the Sudan has done something that they haven't done in a while. They've consistently returned to AFCON. Or some of the other teams that almost made it. The train wreck and the car accident is more of the story. Even look at Nigeria. Nigeria is in AFCON qualifiers. What's the story we remember from Nigeria? It's they took a plane, they ended to play Libya, they ended up in an airport for a day and a half, and oh, Africa is a mess. Now, if we look at our federations, we do that to ourselves, right? These are the same federations who will cry foul, but then they'll pay. Like the thing that I found funny, Ivory Coast wins the World Cup. I'm sorry, Ivory Coast wins the African Cup of Nations. And then the next month, when their women have to play AFCON qualifiers, they turn around and be like, well, we don't have money left. You just hosted a tournament. How did you not plan for that? You didn't make revenues. You didn't make anything. A lot of the issue is we do it to ourselves. And yes, it's our responsibility and it's everyone's responsibility to give it the platform it deserves. But they have to do it also. And if you think it's not a major tournament, give it the platform so it is. Because it's not going to be well manicured like the Euros. It's not going to look like some of the other tournaments, the CONMEBOL or the Prestige there, but it still matters to the African continent because it is our tournament and we need to win it because those titles happen. I think there is my opinions on it. I think there is an issue with it happening every 2 years that people don't like. And I think that happens, the frequency kind of runs with the Gold Cup as well, where it happens so frequently that doesn't lose its value. Possibly, it might. But I think as people, like as a media, like we're on YouTube, we're in people who will do that. We give it the platform that it deserves because it's a continental tournament. And I think it matters. I'm going to get off my soapbox here. And JD, I'm going to give you the floor here because I could go on waxing for hours. But what do you think?
What I did, I went for what he said in context, and this is what he said as to what they've wrote. Jimmy Vardy disrespectfully implies that the AFCON isn't a major football tournament. He said Salah may not win the Ballon d'Or, or if he doesn't win a major tournament. So he's maybe talking about in context that yes, the Premier League would add as a major tournament, definitely Champions League, but his numbers is there, but he has to add something aside from his numbers to win it, and maybe that's why he came over to the AFCON. But remember, AFCON is a regional tournament. Just like Asia, just like Europe, just like CONCACAF. Obviously, as what you said, some of the regions have less, and South America as well. South America is highly rated because the players them in there are highly rated players. That's what make a competition good, not how much brand deals there.
Yeah.
In Africa, African teams are very good because they have highly rated players there. In CONCACAF, you can say CONCACAF is not all that because you have one and two players. Oh, Leon Bailey played for the team there. Pulisic played for the team there. On teams in Africa, Nigeria, everyone is a registered high level footballer.
Mm.
You understand me? So Senegal, the same thing. So it's a high level competition based on players' quality. So I think he's extremely disrespectful, and
Mhm.
Europeans are maybe disrespectful to football itself rather than selling football image. Because I think it's the imagery, uneducated, Jamie Carraghers' attitude is the imagery, is not actually what's happening. Because I bet him never watched a Afghan to know the quality of the Afghan. Because clearly, if you had watched it, you wouldn't base it off, oh, the quality makes it not good. No, you
Mhm.
see Senegal playing. Um, Nigeria is a big game because everybody you're seeing there, except your white friends, them are the players them that you see in Europe. So
Mm.
that makes no logical sense. It is the same quality, and it is what it is. So I think he was out of line, uneducated on his statement. Yes, and clearly he had made statements before, and he always comes off like the what the higher class, or what you would class them as then, those type of people that behave that way, you know yeah. So he comes off like that, those type of persons, and you have to be more. You're in media, you already have your space cemented. Do some work on yourself, educate yourself on the matter. You understand me? It just
I
seems like they
yeah.
just got positions. It shouldn't be him. It should have been a YouTuber making statements like that, like an English YouTuber that doesn't really have. They just got the position and never really had the background. You
Agreed.
know that you have your job to do. You can just come on properly
Mhm.
prepared, and you're making uneducated statements like that.
Mhm. Does CONCACAF run the risk of? I mean, because I think to a degree, CONCACAF also is in the same boat as CAF in terms of their major tournament isn't given a lot of prestige or a lot of the pomp and the level and the value of it. And I think it's also a combination of we've kind of done that. I mean, when is the last time we can think of a CONCACAF tournament that we sent where every team was sending their best team to compete? Right, every Gold Cup comes, you see here U.S. fans pundits say, "Oh, it's a B team, it's a C team." Mexico, it's this.
For,
Canada's in that conversation as well.
for the
B C,
AFCON just a while ago, we saw a full fledged team. Like
yeah.
almost every team, everyone was packed. So
Hmm.
I, so what you're saying, that AFCON is just like the Nations League?
Um, I don't think the AFCON is the. I think people might look at because of the frequency of AFCON, they might say that it is the it might be Nations League esque. I don't agree with that take because they're two different things in my opinion. But it matters. It matters equally as much. I think there is the issue of the frequency, which I won't necessarily disagree. I've always been one who has had the interesting take of you want to make your continental tournaments feel and mean something, put something on the line. If I know that if I win the Gold Cup, or if I win AFCON, or if I win the Euros, or if I win the Asian Cup, if I know that team isn't just going to the Confederations Cup, say if a confederation said if you win the Gold Cup, you're going to the World Cup, period, right? Would teams take it more seriously? I don't. I think it might be more prestige. I think you'll have more eyes because they know, okay, that's the carrot that you're dangling at the end.
Okay.
But I think for me, like it's two different competitions and they're two different states, but I think they're in the same area in terms of because they're kind of looked down upon, right? Gold Cup is okay. The Gold Cup happened again. Okay, cool. What happened? The U.S. won over that. No, Mexico won. Okay, cool. Panama made the finals this time. Good for them. Oh, Jamaica made it once. Good for them. It's USA, Mexico again. Okay, that's what we kind of expected. I think we can do a better job of putting in it. But even this year, right? This year, the Gold Cup, I was looking forward to the Gold Cup because I'm like, this is the year that because the World Cup is next year, most of the teams will try to bring as strong as their teams as they can. But what's also happening this summer? The Club World Cup is happening. So you're going to run into a situation where it's going to be another version of a tournament where, yes, some injuries happen in sport, but you never get to have that tournament where your top teams, your top players are all there, and you kind of get to go and see best on best who is the best and evaluate that way. I think the Copa America joined with CONCACAF created more buzz than the Gold Cup, but that's just because you had the South American teams there and you had the stories that were happening there. And I think that's kind of where it pushed. But where do you kind of find yourself on that? Is CONCACAF in that same spot, or are they in a better spot?
CONCACAF, as to image rights, it might be in a slightly better spot because you're on the Americas region, and obviously that's where it's a much more sellable region than Africa. We have to just say it as it is. Shouldn't be that way, but that's the way it is. So that gives them an advantage, and obviously, you could easily link up with South America. That's right there. That already has the pedigree as a historical place. So you have all things to sell it. But based on quality, I don't think CONCACAF is nowhere near AFCON at this point. You know, it's not, the quality is not there, but the promotion is there. So what they have to keep on doing, you brought a good point. Maybe extend it, so instead of every year, every 2 year, to kind of make people miss it and save up for it or work towards it, so it could give a mystique towards the competition. So yeah, but what they're doing, it's working so far. But maybe they're trying to get the years in, so at least they can get the amount of, what we say, the amount of records, and then maybe after a time they start to space it out because it gets the actual level that it deserves, because it's looking for the recognition. So I don't think in terms of like commercial side, yes, they are improving, but in terms of quality, I don't think the CONCACAF is improving fast enough. It's still relying on going to Europe to improve themselves to even get up on that level. And just a while ago, the merger really told us that it's not close.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely did. It's curious to see because I think we have the responsibility, and we will continue to cover all the tournaments that we
Mm-hmm.
watch because, like you say, it's quality football, and there are things you can learn, even if it's me hate watching Nigeria make a run to the finals of AFCON because they learned how to defend for 3 games.
Yeah,
Good for them.
you have to watch a team that's there,
Yeah,
Yeah, I see.
that I felt that was a nice shot to the kidneys there. After watching a
Yeah,
team that's there, yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Go
you can't lose.
Sudan, go Sudan. Yeah, might as well. Sudan, I'm with you. Kwesi, I am with you. Oh,
Yeah, what
it
can I say?
hurts.
You have
It
to watch
hurts
the
so
teams
much.
that's there. Yeah, yeah. So it is what it is, and Jimmy Vardy have to just, if you don't know it, just leave it alone. You have the luxury. You're in your white world, and you can do whatever you want. And the sad thing is, you get a chance. You just do it without even educating yourself. That's a sad thing.
Yeah.
He has the luxury to speak all he wants. Like me and you would have to educate ourselves. We have to watch AFCON to come out here to can say something, because the fan base knows that we need to know it in order to speak on it. He can just speak on it because he's an ex-footballer and he has his money already, So they're in their comfort box, and that's why he made that speech. And I'm loving that. I saw proper footballer taking him on and running him up in my way. I like that.
No,
Because
I
they have
did
their
too.
money as well,
Yeah,
and they did not need to jump in that. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, man.
No,
So
it's
yeah,
good.
that's
It's
my
good. It's
point. Huh?
good.
That's my
Yeah, it's a
point.
good point. You've called him Jamie Vardy, but for video version, it's
Jamie
Jamie
Carragher.
Carragher.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
did. People, sorry, I just don't have any time for them. Once they do come out off their their over the top mentality, like they're better than people. I'm not into them. I'm not into them.
indeed, indeed. Okay, let's go through these comments here. Chorus: the Ballon d'Or is politics, just like the Grammys. I mean, it depends who you're saying thinks it's politics, but I agree with that generally. That point.
The
Like
Ballon
James.
d'Or is politics. The Grammys is slightly less politics. Kendrick Lamar wins
I knew
everyone
you
else
were
they
going.
had this year.
I know you were
Yeah.
going there. Unless your
Bright
name is
and
Aubrey, you believe that
yes,
it's not
yeah.
politics or the streaming numbers, the things. Okay, I think AFCON every 2 years helps these teams know how to navigate tournament football. Something not dissimilar to the Euro version of the Nations League. Fair, fair, fair. There's a lot of corruption in CAF too, which is why I say we do it to ourselves. But also, there's corruption in. Find me a football federation, and I'll tell you they're corrupt. There is football is corrupt everywhere. That doesn't mean I enjoy it. That doesn't mean we have to accept it. But there's corruption everywhere, right? It's not necessarily just an African thing. There's corruption in every levels. FIFA is corrupt at that point. So, but hey, we still watch it. A lot of bad referees, and some pitches are horrible. But I mean, some bad referees and the pitches are horrible. And then you look at different turns. I wonder, we could get like this could dive off into a conversation of what's the best version of the Gold Cup. Where is it? What does it look like? That's another day, another time. Stephen
Yep.
Jordan thinks US
These
can.
guys turn up earlier. All right.
Yeah. Everybody's here. Everybody's here now. And it's like, and
Yes.
we're getting ready to wrap it up here. So
Yeah.
good thing I didn't call it the 90 minutes, because if then we'd have to go another 24. The US thinks they can get by with backups. If any AFCON team try that, they'll get kicked out faster this year than Ghana's team. Thank you, Steph. I appreciate all the body blows.
It might go against the United States, and it did went against the United States. The United States got knocked out at the time by Panama in the Gold Cup, right? You remember?
In the semis, but the problem with
they have still reached the semis. So you're saying that they
exactly.
should not come out of the what Canada tried. They should work out like Canada, right? That's what you're saying.
Apparently,
sorry. Because if I just say those things, which is facts, you act like I'm throwing shades at you. I'm just
no. That's not shade. That's a body blow. Okay, you're working the body with a right hook. You're just working the body. That's what you're doing. Just hit me while I'm down.
No, because I'm just using a reference, and you don't actually want to answer.
It's what Canada did. No, look, it's what Canada did.
So why you never just answer from the first time?
I was going to, but then you start saying as if I'm trying to think, and I'm like, oh no, please keep pouring salt in the wound. Tell me more. Tell me. Yeah. By the way, JD, you know Ghana didn't make AFCON? Did you know that? I'll just beat myself to it. Ghana didn't make AFCON.
But I never meant it like that.
I know. I'm taking the blows myself.
People, Africans, I have to give him credit. His teams, he wears his teams on his back. I'm telling you, but all right, people. Yeah, we had turned up. We had turned up.
I had the kit. I had the kit ready today, but like we haven't won a game, so they don't deserve to have it on right now. When they win a game, it's back on.
I need to really go and order some teams, some jerseys. You know, I need an 80 jersey.
You remember back in the day?
Jersey.
Remember back in the day when there was a game? I think it was World Cup qualifiers. When I said if Jamaica beats Canada, I'd buy an old school Reggae Boys kit, and it never happened. It's still on eBay. It's still on eBay.
I don't know when Jamaica will beat Canada. Especially in ladies football, is not going to happen. No time soon. So you have to bet on the men's football, and I'm not sure if it will happen so frequent. You know, so they might still can't buy the jersey. You know, yeah. So indeed. It's tough. It's tough.
Yes,
we have to work hard. We have to still work. Yeah. Indeed. But bless up everyone that came in. Please do like, share, and subscribe.
Appreciate you guys. Rewatch it. Leave your comments as well, and let us know what you think on it. Before we go, really quickly, way too early for this because it is next month. But CONCACAF Nations League, we'll do a video on this there. But pre-research looking, and we don't have rosters yet. But
you don't have rosters yet? Oh, yeah.
No, the prelim rosters are out, but the final are out. Who do you have winning?
I'm going to give it to like the Americans big time. Canadians passed through Suriname, looks good as well. The Mexicans, still think the Mexicans are the best team with creation and everything. And now you have two Jimenez doing well. I heard the Americans shut down now because Jimenez went to AC Milan and he's acting like he's a big star because he's scoring in every game. So nobody ain't talking. I saw Tactical on the internet getting baptized by the Mexicans. So
welcome.
Yes, so both Raul and Santiago, they are actually scoring now, and I think
Mm.
that Santiago needed like a Raul there, to guide him how to function in CONCACAF. I think that Mexico's team will be deadly because they were always creating more chances than everybody else. They just couldn't score. You
Mm.
understand me? And now they have two elite goal scorers at least in Europe. So put them on that team, and yeah, I am going to tip Mexico. Getting everything. Mexico back, baby.
Mexico's back to you. No,
Yes,
that's fair. I think that's a fair
Mexico is back.
based off how they are. I don't think that's anything wrong with that. Mexico would be my choice like 2 Nations Leagues ago, but then they didn't even but they are just a shell of themselves in that. I think
But I just gave you the two strikers that we brought in. So
I
what
really Steph?
no, that is
Like that
disrespectful.
is such
So
disrespect. Mexico bringing back role like USA bringing back Josie Alto. The disrespect.
Africans, Raul is you don't have two strikers better than Raul in CONCACAF. Not two. Not two. And he's what is this man talking about?
Float management. Now you're just taking shots at everyone. Canada for the win. It's like saying City is back. Wow. No, I know what you're doing, floats. I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing.
I said Mexico for the win. Mexico I'm going with. Yeah. But yeah, you can't use Altidore and Raul in the same sentence, but
No, you can't.
that is disrespectful. Raul literally is one of the best strikers in the Premier League this season, and I was always one of the best strikers. The guy got him head cracked open, and he had to
Yeah.
get his head sorted out. And the man on fire this year, you know, he's acting like the guy not doing it. The man is actually one of the highest goal scorers in the actual league that you
He
claim that is the best league in the world. So
he's regained good form, and I'm happy to see it. But I think I hate that look, someone had to play Mexico. I think a month ago, Mexico was like, okay, let's do it. Let's play that. I think the winner of Canada Mexico wins it.
yes,
I
I
think the
think
winner of
so.
Canada Mexico wins it. If I was really chaotic, I'd say Thomas Christensen does the thing that we've all wanted to see. I don't know if he can do it. Let me dream. A
So
Panama someone final. Let me dream. But
you
I
know
don't
that
think it'll happen.
we're gonna call Africans the official eater of America. Every time Africans speaking, he tries to invent a way how to tell us that America not going anywhere.
I didn't say. When did I say those words?
No, at all levels. Me talking, and I don't know if it's because Canada is like America's god brother, and
No,
they
no, no.
always whoop their asses.
Whoa! Listen here, sir. I will take my Shoppers Drug Mart purchases and go elsewhere. We are. I would like for. I I don't see Panama beating. I don't see Panama beating the U.S. I just think it's a talent thing with them. But I think whoever wins between Mexico and Canada, I think is winning it because I think that side. I think they're ready for it.
Oh, that's why Stefan taking me on because it's Mexico versus Canada, and because I wait for Mexico.
Yes.
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm a bit slow. Sorry. All right.
It's close to your bedtime. Clearly.
Yes, no, I'm a little bit slow. I'm not out of it, you know. Yeah, but it's okay, people. I did turn up. We did our thing.
We did our thing.
I guess this is the first one, so we're gonna be back with the longest lengthy streams. And if Africans want to drop a stream, he will let me know in time, and we will be back again. You know.
Indeed, guys. So thank you for being here
Uh,
again. We'll try to do these weekly, even if it's just JD or if it's just me or it's me and JD. There
it's
will be
going to be
something weekly. So
yes.
just mark your times, mark your calendars every Thursday or Friday because it's a Thursday/Friday stream with one of
Yeah.
the 2 days. But you'll see it come through. But guys, thanks for being here. Leave your comments down below. Let us know what you think on all the topics we talked about. And until we see you next. We'll just say bye-bye for now.